The truth sets you free. With the world's fastest reader, Howard Stephen Berg. Hi everyone, Howard Berg. Time for a new show and excited to see you today. Thank you so much for coming. Remember to tell your friends about this show as well. Well, I'd like to first thank our sponsor, Dr. Sugg, Dr. Harry Sugg at 3940 West Wheatland Road, Wheatland Dental Care. Absolutely amazing dentist. His number is 972-22-SMILE. Dr. Sugg is the official dentist of the NFL Players Association. He just does amazing things. He works with Eric Dickinson and all kinds of famous football players. They come from all over the country just to be with Dr. Sugg. And I got to tell you, I've been around dentists most of my life because my mother worked with dentists when I was younger. And Dr. Sugg is just an amazing guy. He literally works 6 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day for 40 years. I mean, you find someone with more experience than that, let me know. I don't know anyone in dentistry who's worked harder than that. He actually won an award as the hardest working dentist in America. So you need a dentist, that's the man to go see. I'd like to do a quick learning tip like I always do at the beginning. And today I wanted to show you about how to get a little smarter. Can you put the slide up, please? Single easiest way to get smarter is to ask better questions. Because the questions you ask determine the answers that you get. Next slide. If you ask yourself, why am I a loser? You're going to get a lot of loser answers because that's the question. What you should be asking is, how can I be more successful? You get successful answers. And instead of, why don't I get it? I'm sure a lot of you have had that with your kids. I don't like math. I don't get it. I don't like language. Why don't I get it? Why do I have to learn this? This is stupid. What about asking, how can I learn this? You see how easy it is to make a difference in how you learn? If you're asking, why do I need to learn this? This is dumb. Your brain will tell you why it's dumb and a waste of time. You ask your brain, how can I learn this faster and better? It can help you learn it faster and better. You know, not that long ago, about 150 years ago, the question was, command fly? And you know what? The answer was no. In fact, Leonardo da Vinci, his pictures in the lower right, actually died trying an air flight experiment. He built some wings out of wood, and it broke, and he broke his hip, and ultimately it led to his death. So the answer was no, but two bicycle guys, Orville and Wilbur Wright, didn't know they couldn't do it. They built a powered kite. The first plane was really just a powered kite, and it flew a very short distance for just a couple of seconds. But here's the cool part. 66 years later, after they flew their powered kite, we landed on the moon. So for millennia, no one was able to fly, and then 66 years after a powered kite, they're on the moon. What happened? The questions changed. It wasn't, can we fly? They knew they could. How do you fly higher, faster, better? So it's the questions you're asking that determine the success you get. You know, in the Bible, they say the truth sets you free. That's why I named this show after that. And the questions we ask, what is truth, is a good question. We see that in the Bible. These questions are important. So be very careful what you're asking and what your kids are asking, because today we have a very, very special guest, Dr. Hugh Cole. Dr. Cole has a PhD in biochemistry. Now, I'm a biologist, and I want you to know, being a biologist is tough. Being a biochemist is 100 times tougher. You have to be a physicist. Yeah. You have to be a chemist. You have to be a mathematician. Then you can be a biochemist. It's a lot harder. And Dr. Cole went to Harvard and studied the brain and learning. So I thought today we would discuss some of the things we can do to help make our brains work for us instead of against us. Like we were saying, the questions we ask determine the outcomes we get. Tell me a little about what people are doing right now that's causing them not to perform at peak levels.
Well, Howard, this is a very, very interesting topic to me. And as you know, I really like to start out with stories and tell little stories about something. It just so happened that the other night I was watching one of the Star Wars movies, okay? Apparently TNT network is running these things concurrent, and I was sitting there watching, and I saw this this supposed Jedi Knight turning to this small little tyke that he was going to teach to become a Jedi, which is the star of later shows. And he says very profoundly to him, Anakin, your focus determines your reality. And that's exactly what we're talking about right now, is that what you're focusing on, what you're thinking about, narrows down your fields of vision. It determines your reality. You know, reality is a strange thing because reality changes for different people. The same situation can be entirely different for two different people, depending on the viewpoint that they're
half empty or half full, right?
Half empty, half full. The the analogy I like to use is the map is not the territory. The territory is the physical reality, the table that we have, that we set down here. But if I were to draw a map, I'm going to begin to color that reality with my perceptions of what is going on here. And I'll see the table or the territory differently than you will. And I'll see the things that are going on with preconceptions that I have in my head, filters that I use in my eyes to be able to determine what this is, or what it is that I'm looking at, or what it is that I'm beginning to work with. When you set the right filters, when you begin to talk about the right things that your mind wants to learn, when you understand the filters that are in your head for information, then you can begin to ask the right questions. You can begin to get the information you need. You can begin to build the right reality to learn and understand things.
You literally change what you see. I mean, how many times has someone said, I can't find my glasses? And they say it, I can't find my glasses, I can't find, and the glasses are sitting right in front of them on the table, and they're looking right at the table where their glasses are, but they don't see the glasses because the reality they created was, I can't find my glasses.
I can't find my glasses.
And it becomes real.
Yes, and it actually becomes absolutely real. You know, it's actually even a little bit deeper than that, okay? As you begin to think about what a model of the mind is, okay? You give a very simplistic model of a conscious mind, which is what you and I are using to talk back and forth. And then there's a whole nother part of you, which is, people talk about an iceberg below you. Some people say an unconscious mind. I don't like to think of it that way. I like to think of it as less than conscious properties. They're beyond your conscious grasp. This part of you is what has been created in order to love you, protect you, and to teach you what's right and what's wrong, but to keep you safe as you walk through the world. Sometimes it learns the right things, and sometimes it learns the wrong things. And as you grow up, you install these sort of filters in your head that come from your childhood, that come from your adolescenthood, and you see things in a way that is not exactly right. You have to learn how to ask the questions that will move those filters out of the way. You have to be able to understand that your unconscious mind is there to help you, to protect you, and to do the things that, to help you do the things that you need to do to be the best that you can possibly be. Now, getting back to your little example of not having the keys, okay? I actually think of my less than conscious mind as sort of another person that I talk with, so that we maintain a good rapport, and it knows how to help me the way I want it to help me.
Dialogue with it?
Yes, I dialogue with it, absolutely. Some people think I'm maybe a little bit crazy sometimes because I'm talking to myself. But your less than conscious faculties act like another person. They're there to protect you. They're there to become your very best friend. Sometimes when you have a little accident like that and you can't find your keys, it's because your less than conscious properties are going, knock, 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 listen to me about something. Listen to me, draw attention to this situation so that I can help you. Sometimes it acts a little bit like someone. You ever have a best friend that gets kind of angry with you and just goes, Howard,
or a
turns
spouse.
his head, a spouse? Yeah,
It's called
kind of thing.
marriage.
Yeah,
right?
it's called marriage, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the way your less than conscious properties work. They're there to help you. But if you don't use them, if you don't fill them with the right kinds of ideas, the right kinds of thoughts, then they're going to deteriorate, go away, or in the worst case, they're going to become your worst enemy. And they're going to be able to work against you.
And so a lot of
Yes.
problems people have are because of the thinking that
Oh,
they've put into their unconscious mind.
Absolutely. Bad habits, habit controls, addiction. You know, I do a lot of work with athletes. I also do a lot of work with people who smoke,
Can I
having bad
interrupt you
habits.
for a second?
Oh, sure.
And he says he's worked, Dr. Cole doesn't just, he's being very modest. He says athletes. I'm not going to mention any specifics, but he's worked with professional teams in the NFL, the AFL. He's worked with professional baseball. He's worked with Olympians.
Olympians,
I mean, we're not
yes.
just talking somebody who likes to play sports. He's talking about the top tier people. You've seen people on TV, and I won't tell you who they are, that Dr. Cole has worked with that has turned their entire game around through his work.
Because of the way they think, the way you know, when you have a tremendous athletic talent, the talent becomes 85, maybe 80% of who you are. But then there's that last part of it that separates the men from the boys, and it's how you're thinking. Again, going back to my little Star Wars thing, okay? Yoda, who is probably one of the better philosophers, said something very, very profound. Star Wars kind of laid out this entire Jedi mindset. But Yoda said, Luke, there is do or not do. There is no try. It's the way you think about it. If you think in terms of words that denote failure, you think even of, well, a word like try, for instance. What does it really mean? If at first you don't succeed, try again. The word try denotes failure. So you either do a thing or you don't do a thing. You don't make excuses for not doing a thing, but you teach your mind that that is what you want to do. And how many great professional athletes have you ever heard with the story that they just did it and did it and did it until it became a habit, and they learned a skill, and they practiced a skill? As a matter of fact, one of your previous guests was talking just about things like college and when you should focus on whether you want to go into college. If it's become a habit when you're younger to focus on what you want to do with your career, it's become a habit when you're younger to become the best football player, basketball player you possibly can be, then you'll begin to focus on the things that are absolutely necessary. Not in your senior year, no, because that's much too late. Freshman year, sometimes even in elementary school, great athletes are made when they're younger, as they grow up and they they learn to separate their skills from other athletes. They learn to go the extra distance to learn the skill and the endurance to become the person they're going to be in later life.
I have an interesting side story on that. When I was in college many years ago, I'm walking to class and I'd be practicing doing television shows, and I've been on 1,100 shows,
Yeah.
been on a lot of interviews, but I had absolutely no reason at that time to know I would be on a show or expect to be on a show, but I was diligently rehearsing my style and getting comfortable being in front of a camera. And I remember the first show that I did, and when I was done, they said, well, how many years have you been doing this? How many shows have you been on? And I said, I've never been on a show. And they said, that's not possible. You project yourself like someone who's done this their whole life. And I stopped and realized I had.
Yes.
I had
yes.
done it. I just hadn't been on in front of a camera.
Yeah.
But my brain had done it.
You and every other human being has a magnificent gift that we don't appreciate as much sometimes, the ability to imagine. This sets us apart from a lot of the lower animals because they don't imagine. A human being can form a picture in his mind about what it is he wants to do, what it is he wants to be. Matter of fact, most of the things that you talk about in your courses are about learning how to connect your imaginative associations with the reality of the map of the territory that you're trying to memorize or learn from your speed reading courses. So the pictures in our mind are the singularly most important thing you need to know and understand when you are going to be looking to learn, when you're going to be looking to maximize your performance in a specific subject. The words you use, the pictures you make are extremely important. Make good pictures, successful pictures, and I think you're going to find the results going to be just like the little boy that grew up to have his own TV set because or TV show. You make those pictures, and you know that's also an illustration of a reality of your unconscious mind, because you know your unconscious processes are always looking up to see what you're thinking about. So that if the little boy walking down the street is walking and practicing his TV spiel and his TV pitch, and he's learning how to sway back and forth like a real TV announcer, and he's looking at who his heroes are, well, your less unconscious mind is kind of sitting back and saying, hey, I'm watching Howard. This seems to be what he wants. Let's look for opportunities for him to practice this more. And I think you'll find that those opportunities increase.
Yeah.
In a similar vein, if you're looking, you know, if you're one of those kind of people, like Joe Bufatsplit with a little black cloud over his head, and you're walking around and you're saying, God, I can't do that. I have so much trouble with that. I can't. Well, your unconscious mind is looking at that too. And what's it saying? It's saying, he seems to be thinking about failing a lot. He must like failing. So let's find him opportunities to fail better, and so that he can really, really feel the misery, because that's my job. My job is to
doing
get
what
in
you're
there.
asking.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you make some suggestions for some of our audience on some things they could do to help create a more positive, emotional attitude that will move them towards the success they want instead of what they're doing now? What are some of the changes people can make?
Oh, you can make a lot of changes. You can you can look at your thoughts. You can sit down and you can make a list of the things that you're thinking about during the day. You can, I call it guarding your consciousness. All of us have those moments when we seem to think the wrong way, and you can simply stop it. And what I do is I simply say...
How do you simply stop it?
You become aware of it. You start to learn, instead of letting this program run and run and run and run in the background, you start to listen to it for a while. You start to realize that thoughts have energy. You give energy, you give thoughts energy, power, or control over you. And you can simply stop that. You can stop that thought. I once had someone who came to see me, and she was talking about an incident that happened in her life, and it was an extremely negative incident. I agreed. And as she went on and on and on, I stopped her. And I said, listen, just for a moment, think that thought that you have has got energy. And think for a second for me where that energy is coming from. You know, I have a brother in Upper New York State, and I guarantee you that at this very, very moment, he doesn't know a darn thing about what we're talking about. So it's not coming from him. And you know, before you walked in here with this dump, I had absolutely no idea of any of this thing. So I'm not the one that's giving it energy. And I looked at her like this and I said, who do you think is the one that's giving this negative energy a presence in this room? Who's the one that's carrying it out of the past, bringing it here and putting it on the table for us to kind of dissect? It's over. It's done. Throw it away. It's in the past. The past is over. You don't drag these negative things from the past into the present, because the present is where you can make the changes. You can't make changes in the past. You can't make changes in the future, because the future is the past that hasn't happened yet. The only time you can make these changes is right here and now. So you guard your thoughts. You put positive images in front of you. You put positive sayings in front of you. It's as simple sometimes as writing something on the mirror when you get up in the morning, and allow yourself to be positive about everything you do during the day. No negative thoughts, and guess what? That will become a habit, because your unconscious mind will begin to see that and say, this is what Howard wants. He wants to think of these positive, wonderful energies that happen day in and day out in his life now.
So how does one become aware that they have a negative thought pattern that's working against them? Sometimes it becomes so, I would think it becomes so intrinsic to their personality that they may not even recognize that that's something. Is that where someone like you comes in and points it out to them, or is it an epiphany where they self-realize, or is a little of both?
Well, it's a little bit of both, really. Sometimes I'm incredulous at people unable to see the very thing in front of them that's really really stopping their positive positive progress. I normally just ask somebody questions, and I just continue with the dialogue with them until it all spills out on the table. If you really just begin to look at yourself and talk to yourself and understand what you're doing day in and day out, you'll begin to see what your true values are, what your true beliefs are, and what your true thoughts are. You know, we all have these things we call plans. We all have these things that we call goals, and we all can write them down on a list and do that sort of thing. But if you go 30 days, you take that same list out and look at it, and you can't tell me what in 30 days you've done to advance this goal and this goal and this goal, then those are not your true goals. Okay, those are not your true beliefs. Okay, you're working towards something different, something more mediocre, and you really need to just stop for a second and allow yourself to examine the thoughts that are coming in your mind on a day in and day out basis. Old enemies, negative thoughts, wishes for somebody else that you wouldn't want to have happen to you, those sorts of negative thoughts and feelings. My advice, let them go. The universe, God takes care of all of that stuff. You live in the present, okay? Get rid of those negative energies in your life, because that's the only way you're going to make room for the positive energies that are going to start. Yeah, the truth sets you free. Yeah. Get rid of animosity, okay? Get rid of negative feelings toward people. Get rid of the negative people in your life, okay? Sometimes, you know, when you begin to make a change like this, you can look around.
Forgiveness, is that kind of part of it?
Forgiveness is a major part of it, Howard. That's kind of what I've been saying without having to say it, okay? Because I tell stories, I'm not direct, okay? Forgiveness of everyone around you, okay? Because we're all in the same race, we're all in the same boat, okay? And sometimes you got to cut somebody else's lifeboat free in order to make progress toward where you want to go. Forgiveness is a wonderful way to do that. If somebody is hurt you deeply, and you continue to think about that hurt, Every time you think about it,
You hurt again.
you hurt again. Okay? Why are you doing
And
that?
and they're
Why are you
not
doing
doing
that?
it. You're doing
Yeah,
it.
you're standing there with a hammer hitting yourself on the head like this, okay, and blaming it on them, okay? Here's the way to do it.
Stop
Stop it.
yourself
Stop
in the
hitting
head,
yourself
yeah.
on the head. Just stop doing it. Yeah. And move on. Create positive energy. And if you can't create positive energy in your own life, create positive energy in someone else's life, okay? And that will bring positive energy into yours, the positive things. So,
You work with people.
yes.
And can we put up Dr. Cole's contact information, please, on the screen? That's his email. And maybe you know someone who could use a little help with somebody with a PhD that's done this for many years and understands the workings of the unconscious and how many of the problems we have are self-inflicted with wrong beliefs, wrong values, or just misdirected ideas. And you just kind of counsel them on how to redirect this into a
Yes.
more positive flow. So instead of saying I can't or it's too hard, how can I do this and how can I do it better, and doing it in a way that actually works.
Learning how to say the I cans again and again and again, and learning how to not only say them but believe them. I have this thing about a skill that I teach people. I call it Leo. You learn it, then you earn it, and then you own the skill. Okay, so you learn the
My
lessons.
dad's name
Yeah.
was Leo.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, and you just remembered it completely. Okay,
Yes,
because
yes.
you'll never forget that. Okay.
And you just did it
Yes,
to me.
I just did it to you. Yes, you'll
That's
never
it.
forget it. Learn it,
Like Yoda.
earn it, and own it. Yes, okay.
Your own personal Yoda.
Yeah.
I told you about learning it. Could you put my contact information up, please? Thank you. Well, if you want to learn it and earn it, you can contact me at 214-952-9150, and I will personally listen to what your learning situation is, what problems you have, and help to find solutions, not just for you, but for your kids, for the seniors in your life, even for your company. If you're looking for someone who knows about learning and knows about how to improve understanding, I'm the man. And I love helping people. You could call me on my cell phone at 214-952-9150. You can email me at mrreader@msn.com, or you can go to my website, hbspeedreading.com. Either way, you reach me, not an assistant. It's me personally. I'm here to help. I'm here to make sure that you and yours get the best possible outcome. That's why we have so many wonderful guests on the show, people who are interested in benefiting you and your families. And so please write down my contact information, 214-952-9150. Share it with someone you care about who needs help. Well, we're almost out of time. I want to thank Dr. Cole for coming today. Make sure
My
that you
pleasure, Howard.
stay in touch with us. And until next time, this is Howard Berg, the world's fastest reader, wishing you and yours the best of success. See you in the next show. The truth sets you free. With the world's fastest reader, Howard Stephen Berg.